I got a question. Did Regis Prograis have an off night, or is Devin Haney that good?
Devin Haney's that good. Devin Haney's that good. He's, in my opinion, it's 1A, which is Teofimo Lopez. 1B um, is Devin Haney. And I only say that because T.O. beat the man.
Yeah, beat Josh Taylor.
T.O. beat the man.
Took Josh Taylor to school.
Exactly. He beat the man. So if I beat the man, I'm the man.
Absolutely.
That you know what I mean? That's why Tyson Fury's the man. He beat the man, which was Klitschko. He's the man, right?
Yeah.
I don't care how many belts you make.
Yep.
I beat the man.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Talking about Mexican Independence Day, we can call this Teddy Atlas here in Las Vegas, Nevada. You heard it from the champion himself, knocking out the competition.
Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Richard Ortiz of The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. And like our guest today, Shane Mosley Jr., we're simply knocking out the competition. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is a top contender, Golden Boy's own, 21 in just 4 blemishes, and 2 of them controversial. I mean, knocking on the door in the super middleweight division. Nobody is safe. This guy is hungry than before. You're as good as your last fight. Had a great outing. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest, Shane Mosley Jr. Welcome to The Fighter's Voice, Shane.
Thank you for the introduction. It was great.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate it.
You know, you're not just a fighter. You know what I notice about you is you're a student of the game. You got a future in broadcasting when it's all said and done. I've spoke to you before, and you know exactly what you're talking about. And is that in your future?
You know what? Honestly, I don't know what's in my future. The best that we could do is just continue to grow ourselves as men, right? And then whatever or wherever our passions may lie, or wherever we may end up at the end after we're finished with one chapter. But I'm not looking too far into that. I'm just looking to be a world champion, then unified champion, and then undisputed. You know what I mean? So I could tell Pops like, "Hey man, where's your undisputed at?"
There you go. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, you made it perfectly clear. You're your own person. Of course, you're a son of a legend, but you're your own person, and you're doing your own things, and you have your own style. You know, it's always good to take those traits and just run with that DNA that you have in your blood. But nevertheless, you're your own person, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was actually just talking about talking to my coach about this. It was really funny because like lately, like you said, obviously. You're only as good as your last performance, and everybody comes up to me and is like, yeah man, like you're doing great, and it's in your blood, and that compliment, because it's supposed to be a compliment, always bothers me because I'm 10 years a pro. Like in April will be officially 10 years.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I'm a veteran in this game. Like, it's not my genetics. It is hard work and dedication and my relentlessness and my stubbornness to be great. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that, I have my dad, and I'm thankful for the genes. You know what I mean? I look nice and cute, but, but, honestly, it's hard work and dedication. And, one thing that I can say that I've got from him was his relentlessness, his, want to become better and to become great. And he always put training first, like above, most things. So with that being said, I have that, and I was able to see that from a young age and be able to cultivate that. So that whole statement of like, it's in your blood type thing, is like, you're disrespecting me a little bit. I feel a little bit disrespected because I put a lot of time into this game, man. Like you said, I'm a student of this game, man. 10 years. I mean, most people, like, and from my class in the amateurs, like, don't exist no more. They don't even box no more. You know what I mean? Like, most of them don't. There's a very few. So, I try to keep that going. You know what I mean? I'm going to go as long as I can. Like I said, my goal is to be undisputed. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm starting this year. My plan is to become middleweight champion, and then continue my ascent.
Absolutely. No disrespect noted. Just know that you do have your own tenacity. I will say that. And I will say this. I'll bring up something small. It's a little on my shoulder a little bit. I'll get a call or I'll get a text. Richard, you're doing good. What are you doing here? You should be in New York, or you did a great job. And sometimes before I would get all happy and say, oh, wow, thank you. And now I get frustrated because I'm like, well, can you tell DAZN that? Can you tell Top Rank that? Or can you tell anybody out there that? Let me cover a fight, So now I'm like, okay, well, thank you. I appreciate it. But let them know, because I've been trying to get through there for a while now in broadcasting or what have you. But I know exactly what you're talking about, my man. I mean, you're making your own footsteps and you're moving forward. The Contender, gave you an opportunity. You excelled. And I remember watching you. I believe it was you and Daniel Valdivia.
Yeah, we fought this second night.
Yes. And see, Daniel's from our area, from the Tulare area. So it was going back and forth. Then you had Marcos Hernandez from the Fresno area. But I remember watching you and I'm thinking, okay, that's his son, but he has his own style. And I could tell right then and there, you made it clear, I'm my own person. I appreciate where I come from, but nevertheless, I'm taking my own footsteps forward. When you hear that now, how does that make you feel as a man, as a boxer, and as a professional?
I mean, that was what I wanted, which was to make my own steps, make my own wave. I got into this sport because of me. I didn't get into this sport because of my dad. My dad couldn't fight for me. He never has. He never will. And I mean, like, like I said, I'm thankful for having that lineage, having that understanding, having the experiences that I got to experience, like being able to be around a lot of cool fighters. I mean, like some of the best fighters out there I've been around, talked to, and met, things like that. So it's and obviously I don't think that would happen if I was just a regular guy, right? Obviously I'm able to have these conversations and be able to be around guys like this because of who my dad was. So that was great. But it is all about my own steps and taking what you have and using it, right? And that's why a stoic mentality is really good, especially for sports, but specifically for boxing, because it doesn't matter what happens to you, or it doesn't matter where you started, but what you do with that information, right? And what you do with the knowledge that you have. So let's just say, I didn't have a mom growing up. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I can be like, oh, my whole life is messed up, or I can say, you know what? I'm not going to have that for my kids. I'm going to change this and never look back, right? Absolutely. And I luckily had a father that had great experience, great achievements and all these things. And I could take that and be like, you know what? How do I replicate that? How do I make my own with that knowledge that I have? Or I can be like, oh, and there's a lot of guys out there. And that's why a lot of champions who have sons, or who have, or I shouldn't say champions, I should say legendary fighters that have sons, usually they fall short because they let the noise get in. They let the noise of, oh, you'll never be as good as your dad, or those are big shoes to fill. You're following in his footsteps. It's like, no, I'm not. Like, and no, they're not big shoes. I got my own shoes, and I got some big ass feet. You know what I mean? Right? Like, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, my feet are big. Okay. I could do this myself, but you have to be able to have that willingness to go against that. Right. And nobody else has done it. Like, Tim Tszyu, he's knocking at the door of it. There's a few others, right, who had legendary fathers, right? We could talk about guys who had fathers that were, fighters that were good, maybe even decent, right? Like Floyd Mayweather Jr. His dad wasn't a legend, right? But he's one of the greatest of all time, right? The list goes on, right? Another guy who was really, really close, if he had the discipline, he could have been great, which was Chavez Jr.
I agree.
He could have been great.
I agree with you.
But the discipline, right? And he maybe have fallen short because of some of the things that he had seen or witnessed, growing up, or trauma, whatever. But you could, I'm not trying to minimize what happened to him. All I'm just saying is that you can always take those situations and use it for the good, or you can let it consume you. So I'm doing my very, very best in order to be able to utilize what I have.
Shane, I'm going to ask you one more question in regards to that, and then we're going to move forward. When did that
Of course.
start? As a child, did you always want your own identity, or was it? When did that day? When did you walk out and say, you know what? I'm going to take my own footsteps. I'm going to make my own name. I'm going to do things and move a different direction for myself.
I believe that it was instilled in me um, at a very young age. Luckily, my mother told me that you can only have what you acquire
Yeah.
and what you work for, right?
Yeah.
This is not yours. You're not Sugar Shane. You know what I mean? You're not Sugar Shane. You'll never be him. And I really early on when I was young, it really hurt my feelings. But I realized what she was saying, and she was saving my life. My mother was saving my life because a lot of times kids have um, these how do I say they feel entitled to what their fathers or their parents
Yeah.
or their families have. And if you're not told, like, none of this is yours, you have to make your own because you're your own man. You're going to grow up one day and be a man, and you're going to have your own family, and none of this is going to be yours. Only what you acquire, only what you can can make for yourself. And that was some of the best advice. Yes, early on when I'm a 9-year-old boy, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? Like, but it all, and that's probably one of the reasons why I don't have Sugar Shane. I'm not Sugar Shane Mosley Jr. Everybody assumes that, oh, Sugar Shane Mosley Jr. Like, no, that's not me. I'm Shane Mosley. I'm Shane Mosley Jr.
That's right.
And even still, like, I tell people now, like, I introduce myself, I'm Shane Mosley. Now, if they're like, oh, you mean like the boxer? I'm like, oh, I'm Shane Mosley Jr. Right? But my name is Shane Mosley. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to tell people I'm Shane Mosley Jr. If I introduce myself to somebody in business, I'm gonna say, oh, I'm Shane Mosley Jr., like minimizing myself. No, I'm Shane Mosley. Hi, how are you doing? Right?
Exactly.
That's what I'm supposed to do. That's the name that they gave me, and you know what? And I have to use it. I'm not Junior. I'm Shane Mosley.
You know what? I just noticed, right? You're driven by that. That's your fuel. I can see it right now. Here, you are driven by that. You're dedicated to that, and you're almost your own competitor. You're competing amongst yourselves and everybody else to say, "Hey, I'm my own person. I've made it clear to you, and this is who I am.
Yeah,
Love me for who I am." And you're moving forward doing it.
absolutely. And wherever the chips may fall, like, it's mine. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Wherever they may fall, if I reach the stars, great. If I fall short of the stars, great. You know what I mean? At least I shot.
yeah,
At least I said, this is me, this is who I am, and this is what I do. And we can stack them up later. You know what I mean? But right now I'm en route.
yeah,
Hello?
yeah, yeah. You froze a little bit, but we're good. We're good. That's why we're recording, and we'll fix that part.
All right, cool,
You
cool.
know, you made a statement saying that you by your mom giving you that advice, by her telling you it saved your life. Talking about save your life, my man just recently got baptized. Man, praise God, brother.
Yes, I
Hey,
did.
I'm happy for you, and
Thank you.
I'm happy when I see people with a huge platform, and they're not ashamed of the gospel, and they're not ashamed of Jesus Christ, man. And we need more athletes like you that are coming through that'll post the change in their life, and definitely not ashamed, and you know worshiping the Most High.
Yes, absolutely. It was a big moment in my life, and I felt like, why not share it? You know what I mean? There's so many people out there that are struggling and going through things, and maybe they need some healing. Maybe they need God. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I don't know. I'm nobody to tell you. I knew I needed God, so I went for it, and I reached out, and I'm proud to be a Christian. Um, but like, who am I? You know what I mean? All I can say is through my eyes, and what I've gained from it has been immeasurable, and I am so thankful for all the things that God has brought to my life, and he's working in me, through me, and for me, and so I'm grateful.
Amen, brother. Because I know you're a family man. You got a beautiful family. Also posted
Thank you.
pictures of your children. Your wife, and that's a good thing. You're proud of who you are, and you're proud of the blessings that have come your way. Um, I want to ask you a question off the subject. Golden Boy is just signing these guys. I mean, you just signed Jose Ramirez, Arnold Barboza, and it's their blessings because they were with another promoter and they actually wanted out. So they're blessed to come to Golden Boy, and they're very excited about coming to Golden Boy. They're both in the 140-pound division. Recently, Ryan Garcia made a statement after Oscar De La Hoya made a statement, and he said, "Look, the negotiations have fell through with Pitbull, um, with also Devin Haney, and it looks like Jose Ramirez is next." So the very next day, Ryan Garcia says it's not Ramirez. Let's just get that clear. Now, I'm going to want your take on this because I'm thinking because of the back and forth with Oscar and Ryan, it could have been nothing personal against Ramirez. I just think whoever Oscar would have said, I'm thinking Ryan would have shut it down anyways because he wants to let him know who's boss or who is the boss. What's your take on that?
Honestly, he has the leverage to do that. Obviously, he's the man right now in Golden Boy, so he can kind of go back and forth with them. Unfortunately, I don't feel like I have that luxury, so I wouldn't have done it. So I think that kudos to him,
Yeah,
right? That you feel like you can kind of go back and forth with your promoter and stuff like that. And honestly, I think that they probably take it on the chin because they get much more engagement with that back and forth,
yeah,
right? It's actually selling. People love stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're feeding into the masses, right? We wouldn't be talking about it right now if it wasn't
absolutely.
cool, right? So with that being said, like I wish I had that leverage to be like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, nah, like I'll do what I want, when I want to. But he does have that luxury, and I think that it also helps Golden Boy. It helps everybody involved, right? To have that tension and to go back and forth, right? Because if everything's going cohesively, nothing gets said, nothing gets brought up, things like that, and we don't get the beautiful press that we would get from that. So I think that it's the family drama sometimes can be great. You know what I mean? Sometimes, that's the story at the cookout, right? You know what I mean? Oh man, you remember that one time when so and so got to a fight? Man, that was
You
crazy,
made the
right?
whole event.
It's like, yeah, right. Like we love Thanksgiving now. Let's see what happens next
Yeah, we
time.
get family together. That's for sure.
So exactly. So and that's what it seems like. My personal take. I think he's it's kind of ungrateful in my opinion. They brought you to this moment. You wouldn't be the household name that you are if it weren't for them. And I'm just gonna be completely honest, right? They have groomed you. They have made you into the superstar that you are, or at least been a part of. Obviously, he has to do the work.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's had his own social media teams and being a part of things. So obviously he's done his part, but as far as being a superstar in boxing, right? I think that goes without being like goes unsaid that they have made him a superstar.
I know he was trying to get that fight with Rolly. It looks like that fight, also fell out. That's why Oscar De La Hoya, in fact, made that statement. Now, one thing about knowing Jose personally, I know when Virgil Hill came back I'm sorry, Virgil Hill, Virgil Ortiz. The second time I did that, I was thinking about Virgil Hill, old school fighter. When Virgil Ortiz came back after a year and a half of being absent in the ring, they made sure he had the right opponent in front of him. It was a good outing with Arnold Barboza, but again, Golden Boy made sure they had the right opponent in front of them, which they do your homework, and it is what it is. I know Jose. He's not going to take anything less than a top 10 fighter because that's not going to help his career. Boxing has a small window, as you know. So he's ready to take on the likes of Arnold Barboza. He's even mentioned Regis Prograis, Ryan Garcia. If, in fact, that fight materializes, Ryan Garcia and Jose Ramirez, what's your breakdown with the two in the 140-pound division?
Um, that's probably not the fight I would want to see Jose in first. I would probably want to see him in there with somebody else. but I think his skills can, maybe give Ryan trouble. But Ryan has what I call the act right. You know what I mean? He can end it at any moment. You know what I mean? He definitely has that power in that left
The
hand,
little
and
check hook.
he showed that in his last fight. Yeah, he showed in his last fight. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't going his way. And he kind of boom,
Yeah.
and kind of set it straight. You know what I mean? Like, it. Obviously he was working out the kinks of losing his first fight. And so, we have, little things that you're working on and trying to improve on. So, we can't say much about that, but he ended it and did what he was supposed to do. So I think that he would be more prepared for a Ramirez, and I think that that's probably not something that he would want to do first. But he's an Olympian. He has a lot of experience. He's been a unified champion. He's obviously a great former champion. So I think that is a great fight. I would probably lean a little bit more towards Ryan, just because he's younger, fresher. He has that tenacity. So I think that would kind of maybe be in his favor.
I would like to see that fight happen. My question would be, how does Jose take that check hook? Because I believe Jose is going to apply pressure like never before, not just sit back and box. That's a great style of matchup. I'll pick a winner once, in fact, it does get signed and released. If not, what do you think of the matchup of Jose Ramirez and Arnold Barboza?
I think this is a great fight. I think I believe we talked about
Yes, we
that
did.
fight actually on the last podcast, and I do believe that that's a great fight. I like that fight a lot. I think that is a great fight, and I think that I would probably favor that fight more. I feel like that's a more action-packed fight, just in my personal opinion, because they're both gonna go at each
Yeah.
other, like really good, and they both aren't like one punch knockout artists. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have to see a scrap. You're gonna have to see like mixing it up, changing game plans. Just a lot of different things you're gonna have to see when that matchup happens. So, like with Ryan, he could be losing the whole fight and just clip him and put him out. Um, but with I mean, obviously he could be winning the fight and just clip him too. But I'm just saying, like, I mean, like, that's like kind of a variable that he has, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, like, it's not going my way, boom.
You're always
But
anticipating
with
one punch can change the whole outcome.
right, like, I mean, like, again, like we seen his last fight, but with Arnold Barboza and Ramirez, I believe that both of them don't have that like one punch knockout. They have pressure, they have boxing skills, both of them. So they'll have to be able to utilize those things and be able to get the best out of what they're doing and work on their game plan. So I think it's a better fight.
I think that's a great matchup. It could be possibly 2024 fight of the year. It should be for an intern bout. They should go 12 rounds. I think that matchup needs to be made. I think the only holdup
Yeah.
is they do share the same manager. Now, if you were stuck in that position, Shane, would you avoid that, or would you just say, "Hey, business is business," or would you look elsewhere for both of your fighters?
If I was the manager, if I was the
Yeah, if you
fighters.
were on a manager. Oh, the fighters made it clear they want to fight each other. Jose said several times, "I'll fight Barboza."
Okay.
Barboza said, "I'll fight Ramirez." But they do have the same management team.
I think it really depends. I mean, like if we can't get anything else and that's the best fight out for both of them, oh, okay. But I think that fight makes much more sense if either one of them have a belt or both of them have a belt, right? So I would first try to get that type of thing first, like right where they're both kind of having belts and then get them together.
Okay.
But both of them have been in the same um, have had the same management team for their whole career. They both have been at 140 for however long, right? So if they haven't fought now, maybe they're never going to fight. You know what I mean? Like maybe it might be, like something like, because, Ramirez has had a title already. If he was going to fight, they both were on top rank too.
Yeah.
So it's like, why didn't it happen?
Yeah.
If it was going to happen at all, why wouldn't it have had happened there? But, I guess we'll see. Maybe they're looking like, oh, there's nothing out there better for us. They're both not necessarily young. You know what I mean? Like they're, a little bit on towards the older, they're like my age, right? So it's like, hey, like, all right, we're not going to get anything better. We're getting a little bit older. Let's do it, So who knows? But, if I was their manager, I probably that wouldn't be the first option. I would be looking for other things for them separately. And then maybe if it came down to it, I would have them fight later on.
Boxing would flourish off that fight. Personally, knowing them both, it's kind of like, well, but it's still a great fight for boxing. And yeah, it is what it is. It's a tough decision, and there's a title at stake. Absolutely, there's no ifs and buts to it. They're both fighting for the belt, and that would be something different. I want your take on Teofimo Lopez and Ortiz. I think that's going to be a tougher fight than people think that Teofimo's just going to walk through this guy. Ortiz is a tough out.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know who's been saying that was going to be a walkthrough. I mean, I don't think Teofimo would say that. I mean, if he did, then maybe he's just talking. But no, Ortiz is a hard fight for anybody. Like
Took Loma the distance in a very close
skill.
fight. Defeated Jamal Herring.
Yeah, he's a tough dude, and he has skills. He's quick. Yeah, he does a lot of good things. And even coming off a fight with Loma, I mean, that's even, I mean, like you only gain, you only become better after a fight with Loma, right? And you see that with Devin Haney, right? Like he only got better. You see that with Tio, he only got better. You know what I mean? Like, so like, he's not going to be worse. He's going to be better, right? So at least in my opinion, or what I think, right? Because I don't feel like he took crazy amounts of damage. You know what I mean? I think if anything, he looks back at that and goes, you know what? I'm never letting this happen again. I'm going to be better. I'm going to grow from this. And so I definitely think it's a tough fight. And if Tio is not taking this fight seriously, we have seen what has happened when he doesn't take fights seriously, right? He falls short and he fumbles the ball. So I hope that he's taking this fight very, very seriously. And hopefully he can, overcome and be great again, or continue to be great, I should say,
and move forward and stay in that sweepstakes of that meat division at the 140-pound division. I got a question: did Regis Prograis have an off night, or is Devin Haney that good?
Devin Haney's that good. Devin Haney's that good. He's, in my opinion, it's 1A, which is Teofimo Lopez. 1B is Devin Haney. And I only say that because T.O. beat the man.
Yeah. Beat Josh Taylor.
T.O. beat the man.
Took Josh Taylor to school.
Exactly. He beat the man. So if I beat the man, I'm the man.
Absolutely.
That you know what I mean? That's why Tyson Fury's the man. He beat the man, which was Klitschko. He's the man, right?
Yeah.
I don't care how many belts you make.
Yep.
I beat the man.
Yeah.
That's simple.
I remember that fight. I was thinking, man, this guy, he stepped up to the plate. You know what I noticed about Tyson Fury, when it's the big fights, he steps up. He really does. And just that mindset about him.
Yeah, I mean, you can clearly see he took Francis Ngannou very, very lightly, almost disrespectfully lightly.
Yes, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like almost to a point where it was like, bro, like, come on, he's still a fighter. He's still a man. Like has put in years in this game. Like, come on. So I think that was kind of the case. I'm not sure, if he had a training camp or if he was like, you know what, I'm just going to show up and, I don't know. That's what it seemed like. He just showed up and was just like, yeah, I'm about to fight. So hopefully he's taking this Usyk fight much more serious, and because that's a fight that needs to be taken serious,
Absolutely.
and I do believe that he's going to show up for that fight. But with that being said, you know what I mean? Like, you know, that's why Teofimo Lopez, in my opinion, is the man. Do I think just because of that he beats somebody like Devin Haney? No, I think that's an incredible fight. I would love to see that happen. First, I'm not sure, but definitely a great fight. Fight of the night. I mean, fight of the year candidate. I'm sure. Like before it even happens,
Everybody
like
wants to see it.
that. Yeah, I mean, just incredible skill, incredible, power. Just a lot of things a lot of variables that you got. Both can box. Both are very athletic. Both, um, are great fighters. And I do say that Devin Haney reminds me a lot of like Floyd Mayweather, right? Once he moved up, I mean, he dropped Regis. You know what I mean? Like nobody thought that was going to happen, right? Like, did I think he was going to finish him? Even when he got dropped, I was like, yeah, he might drop him again, but he's probably not going to finish him, right? He's just going to, kind of more so keep it safe and outbox him and stuff like that. But with that being said, I do feel like, like I think that's a great fight. I do feel like it's a 50-50 fight. And I believe both guys will show up that night for sure. Like that's a fight where it's like, yeah, I'm going to be my very, very best that night.
Exactly. And see what everybody's going to get is they're going to get some entertainment leading up to that, because that press conference is going to be out the hook. You got Bill Haney, Teofimo Sr. They don't shy away from any microphone or any opportunity. They're passionate about the sport and their kids. It's going to be fireworks.
Man, the undercard, I mean the co-main event needs to be Bill Haney and the Teofimo's there.
Does.
Yeah, man. For real, that'd be a great one, man. Just have them sit down and just talk crap to each other. Just like, we'll just sit down. Give them like 25 minutes. That'd be the best 25 minutes ever.
Yeah, they would go at it back and forth.
Right.
Shane Mosley Jr. sees 168-pound Devin Haney. How does Devin Haney get defeated? What's the remedy? What's the blueprint? How do you defeat a fighter with the skill set of Devin Haney?
Wait, say that again?
Okay.
I'm confused on the question.
Shane Mosley is fighting at 168 pounds. Shane Mosley Jr. is fighting a Devin Haney type fighter at 168 pounds. What is the game plan to defeat a fighter like that?
So I fight at 160.
No, okay, 160, 160.
So yeah, I was
because I was thinking 168 because I was in a matchup with Caleb Plant later on before the show's over. That was going to be the next question.
Okay.
How does a Devin Haney get beat? That style of fighter.
Well, I would have to break that down. Obviously, be able to manage the range. Being able to to work off that jab. Obviously, I would be the bigger man in that particular situation. And just, I haven't really broken that down, but, I don't, because I don't really know how I would fight that fight. You take everybody for what they, like for who they are at that particular time and what you are at that particular time. So with that being said, I mean, obviously I have a good jab. I feel like I would have the strength advantage. I would have the height. So I would try to use that to my advantage. Obviously he would, I would assume he would still have the speed. So I'd have to be able to find a way to neutralize that, obviously with the jab, shooting stuff to the body, things like that. And being able to be as crafty as possible. But yeah, I think that something like that would suffice.
I think you have the style to beat that type of fighter. I would love to see you and Caleb Plant match up with one another. I know he's a division up, but I think that's a great matchup for you. I think Charlo's a great matchup for you. I think this is the year 2024 Shane Mosley Jr. gets a title opportunity in a big fight, pay-per-view even. I mean, You
Oh,
just need the
I
opportunity
will.
right now.
100%. 100%. 100%. I believe that in my soul that I'm going to be a champion this year. Uh, and so with that being said, I just got to continue to stay focused and get to all those things, like one foot in front of the other.
Absolutely.
So whoever's next, hopefully that's, a title eliminator or interim belt or something like that. And then, title fight and then off to the races.
Who would you like to share the ring with this year? Name 2 fighters.
Erzlandi Lara. Erzlandi Lara.
I remember you mentioned him last time. You've been studying him
Yeah,
for a while.
and yeah, I mean, he's the only legend in my weight class.
Yeah, yeah,
So why not beat the legend? Why not beat the legend?
absolutely. Go for
You
the
know,
best.
like I said, if you beat the man, you're the man.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Um,
I wouldn't have it any other way. There's no shortcuts. Y-
right.
You know,
And then so outside of that, it'd probably be, I mean, this year, I mean, it'd probably be like I said, it'd be the um, uh, title eliminator or interim belt, something of that nature. And then and so like it's like whoever they want, and then give me the Lara.
there you go.
You know what I mean? Like so, those are the 2 fights I want to see. Like give me a chance to get to the man, and then give me the man.
So when is going to be your next outing, and what are those discussions like when you sit down with the promoter?
So I don't ever sit down with them, but I speak with my manager. My manager speaks to them. I would love to have a conversation with them. That'd be great. But as of right now, I don't have the luxury of doing that. And but like I think it's like, hey, like what do you guys, Steve or Shane? And um, you know, luckily Oscar um said publicly on DAZN and the Golden Boy thing that he believes that I'm going to be a future world champion. They asked,
Yeah.
they put up like the fighters and stuff like that, and he said I'm going to be future world champion. So that was, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
like yeah, it's pretty cool that your promoter believes that, believes what you believe, and so hopefully that was a genuine answer, and let's go make it
Yeah,
real.
you're a big 160 pounder. You're a big 160 pounder. So I could easily see you moving up when it's all said and done to at 168. It easily carrying that frame, but you're good where you're at. Win that bout and then move up, or just clean out the whole division. What are your plans for 2024 besides getting that title opportunity?
Well, I think that more than anything, that'll probably be like my whole 2024, right? You know what I mean? Like, let's just say I have 3 fights, right? It'll be like um, title eliminator, title defense, like, and that's like best case scenario, right?
Right.
Like that's if like nothing bad happens, everybody, everything goes great, right? Kind of worst case scenario is like 1 fight, and then I'm like waiting on Lara because he hasn't fought in forever in 3 days. So it's like hopefully, like best case scenario happens, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what that looks like, and then the following year, let's just say, you know, uh, interim championship defense, right? The following
Yeah.
year, it's like unify, undisputed. Like, why not?
That's been a goal of yours. It's there in front of you. It's just waiting for that opportunity, and until then, just keep getting them victories and putting the pressure on the whole 160-pound division. I got to ask you this: what was it like? You were at the Raider game recently, and you met I don't know, a couple
Yes.
Raider players. How did you
Yep.
feel when they embraced you, and the impact of being in that big, football stadium?
Insane, bro.
What's it like? What's the energy
It
like?
was, yeah, man. Like, so I didn't grow up in like the Bay Area or nothing like that. I was obviously a Southern California boy, so I was, you know, Rams fan and Chargers and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? We supported them, right? And so ever since I moved out here, obviously the Raiders are from here, and um, I can't say that before that I was a Raiders fan. I thought it was cool that the Raiders are there, and I always respected the Raiders and stuff like that. But when I went to a game, it was just like I'm a Raiders fan now, man. That was one of the best
You got
games I've
sucked in,
ever
huh?
like. Yeah, and just the impact and just like how much like the fans like love the Raiders. Like the Raiders have like such great fans. Like one day I wish I had fans. I have fans like that.
Those guys are loyal.
It's like insane. Very loyal. Like it, and they come dressed up. They just are all about it. So I love the atmosphere. I love being there with the players and. Um, hopefully, I get to go to more Raiders games and support the Raiders, man.
You also, made a trip to some of the schools and talked to the kids, and you made an impact on their lives. What was that like, knowing that your voice went a long way, your platform went a long way, you used it for the youth, you made an impact, and since then, have you been asked to come back or do some other public speaking?
Yeah, I do public speaking every now and again. I'm also a boxing coach, so luckily I have some kids there, and that transition of like teaching and talking to people and trying to get them motivated to do like class and learn different things kind of helps me to cultivate like when I public speak, because essentially I'm public speaking when I'm talking to my students and things like that and organizing my classes. So I feel like that gives me um, a little bit of a blueprint to how to speak to kids and things like that. And the kids are our future.
Yeah,
You have to raise up the kids, and they're going to be the adults that influence the world. So just giving them encouragement, talking to them, letting them know that they have an outlet, and maybe giving them resources in order to do if they need help, and just sometimes even just being like feeling like somebody's heard, right? Like that they were able to speak and just somebody listened to them. It goes a long way. Like just having an open ear.
absolutely. There's an event coming up in Fresno. It's on St. Patrick's Day. It's for the fallen heroes, the officers that lost their lives on duty. But in the
Yeah.
event, you have fighters fighting. You have police officers fighting police officers. Sheriff fighting a fire department guy, or
Yeah.
police officer fighting a sheriff. Is back and forth to the president. It's a great cause, and I'm letting you know this only because they're going to have them annually. Possibly 3 a year.
Oh,
One of these days, man, when you're around the California area, the Fresno area, got to get you down there, man. VIP seat. You and your wife or whoever you want to come with. You'll be the
yeah.
guest, and you can make an impact on some of these lives. Even though everything, the proceeds do go to the fallen heroes. That's what it's called, and it's going to be
Yeah.
something worth mentioning. And I did tell them, because I'll be working that event, that every fighter that comes on here, I'm going to give them the opportunity. It may not be this one coming up, but maybe in the future. Love to have Shane Mosley Jr. there.
Oh man, that'd be great. I think I would love that. That'd be awesome. Maybe even my dad could come down. I'm sure he would love something like that too.
Hey, that'd be a great impact, and that's the influence of you guys being there, because I know everybody would want to be on their A game, knowing that you guys are there watching and critiquing and just letting these officers
Yeah,
express themselves. Because a lot of them, hey, they want to strap it up too and let it go, and some of these guys, they take it serious. They take it really, really serious, and some of them do have some decent
as they
skill
should.
set.
Yeah, as they should. What I mean? Like I think every man needs an outlet. What I mean? I think it's important for men to be able to express themselves, whether it be weight training, whether it be boxing, MMA, whatever the case is, right? You got to be able to get that out, or you're gonna hold that inside, and maybe one day it erupts in the wrong place. So
Yeah, you got to get that out. You can't hold it in too much. It's March 17th. It starts at 2 p.m. It's in Fresno, California. It's on a Sunday, St. Patrick's Day. I know he has 2 more lined up. I don't have the exact dates. What was that? Did you? I broke the third wall and talked to the producer. Oh, I thought the producer was correcting me. Yeah, yeah. Because I did say Virgil Hill earlier today, instead of Virgil Ortiz. That happens
Yeah.
every now and then.
Yeah.
So listen, man. What's on your bucket list for 2024 besides what you mentioned inside of the boxing ring? Outside of the boxing ring, what's on your bucket list for 2024?
Buy my wife a house.
Oh, there you go. Right on. That's a good
Yeah.
man right there.
Yeah, man. My dad, he has our family house, you know what I mean? Obviously it's his house, but he's like, if ever I, die and stuff like that, you guys have a house, right? My grandfather has the same thing, his house. He's like, when I die, I got a, house my family can always be at, right? And so I'm up next.
There you go.
I'm on deck. I'm on deck.
That's
So
right.
I gotta say that they all said it, to their kids and their family, right?
Yeah.
I'm next. I'm next on deck.
There you
So
go.
it's time to say to my family, you always got a house and you always got a place to be if things go wrong.
What are those conversations like when 3 generations are sitting down watching a boxing match?
Yeah, so I don't know if you ever watched Friday, but like how Smokey says, I got mind control over Debo. When he says be quiet, I be
Yeah.
quiet. When he leave, I be talking again. So
Yeah.
I gotta have mind control over them, right? Like I just be like, yeah, you right.
There you go. You don't want
Right
to
when they
fight your
leave,
battle, right?
nah, nah, y'all
So when
wrong.
they leave, you be
That's
talking again.
not what you do. Right? Exactly. Exactly.
No,
Right?
you made
You
that
like,
clear.
I'm not gonna sit there and argue with you guys. You know what I mean? Nah, we're gonna be here for all day. We're gonna be here
Yeah.
all day. Oh, well, I see you got to be doing it like this. All right, yeah, you right.
Yeah.
You right.
When you leave, I'll be talking again.
Exactly.
Hashtag when you leave, I'll be talking again. I'm gonna tag you on that.
That's right. All right, for
I'm gonna have
sure.
to borrow that one too.
Yeah, you got to,
Yeah,
man.
definitely.
It's a good one.
How was your New Year like, and how was your Christmas, man?
It was really good. Just got to spend it with my family. You know what I mean? The best, um, you know, best way to do it.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is I'm blessed to be able to have the ability to do all the things that I love to do, which is not, a lot. Is go to the gym, be with my family, right? And I'm blessed, right? I don't need to do anything special. Like that's special enough. I'm blessed to be able to just like hang with my family and not worry. You know what I mean? Like just be with them,
I
right?
agree.
And so that's just a luxury I get to have, and I'm content with that. So, like I think that I'm very blessed in that matter, and that's why like I even posted about today, right? Like my fans, like right, I'm blessed to have all the people that support. I'm blessed to have all the people that watch, that put on the shows. Like you guys make my sport great. It's one of the best sports in the world, and I'm blessed to be one of the fighters in there, and I can be a part of great moments in people's lives, and I'm just so thankful. And so I live my dream every single day.
There you go. Very well said, man. What do you have to say to the next guy that's out there that's listening that may not have the opportunity or may want to, have his own identity or may want that opportunity, to work hard for? What advice do you have to say to somebody that's in the middle of like possibly quitting, not just boxing, but any profession or giving up? What advice do you have to say to somebody out there that's at the crossroads of life?
There's a few things that I could say. Well, first thing is it's simple. It's not easy, right? Like we all know what we have to do, and it's pretty simple, right? Do your work, study, work your butt off, and don't let the failures deter what your goal is, right? Just be consistent. Show up every single day, ready to learn, ready to work hard, be your best. When it's time to show up, you have no choice. If you've worked hard and you believe it and you did everything possible, it's physics. It's just going to happen, right? It's just going to happen, right? And so It's simple, but it's not easy, right? That's what I would tell him. And the other thing too, as do the thing and the action and the feelings will follow, right? Do the actions and the feelings will follow, right? I may hate training. I may hate my wife one day, you know what I mean? Like whatever the case is, right? But guess what? If I do the feelings of love, if I do the feelings of I do the actions of training hard and believing in myself and all these things, the feelings of all that I want is going to come later. But I have to understand that that's going to come later. And I may have to be patient, but if I believe it and I stay consistent, it will happen. The feelings of like achievement, the feelings of winning, the feelings of love, all these things, it usually has a price of action. You usually are not going to feel like you love your spouse every single day. You know what I mean? Hey, there might be some out there that you love them every day. But, you know what I mean? If those who've been in relationships and marriages for a while, you know that not every day is the best day ever.
Right.
Right? And if you are in this career, I've been in this career for 10 years. Not every time I've showed up to fight, I've won. Not every time, not every training session is the best training session ever. Not every sparring session, I got the best of it. You know what I mean? There's some days where I got my butt kicked, right? There's, days I've lost. There's days I didn't feel good in the gym or I didn't want to work out. But guess what? I'm gonna get myself up and we go into the gym or we going up and giving our best that we have that night. Like I'm going out and I'm loving my wife. You know what I mean? I may be really, really tired. I don't feel like taking my kids to the gym. I don't feel like taking them to the park. But guess what? I'm gonna go do it. And all of that to say, do the action and the feelings will come. As men, right? I'm talking to all my men out there. Obviously, women that want to feel included, you can do this too. But obviously for my men, because I'm a man, do the action and the feelings will follow, right? Usually people want the feelings. I want to feel motivated. I want to feel loved. I want to feel all these things. No, do the action. The feelings will follow.
Very well said. Since you broke it down, you explained it very well, and that's very well said, man. I mean, that part I'm gonna have to clip out and just freaking send it to every man out there. That's like some man code right there. And sometimes we need to be told by another man, especially when. Why should we wait for us to go through something? We need to stay motivated. I don't believe in, hey, I'm flunking math, so I'm gonna get a tutor. No, get a tutor now. Because in baseball, you get a pitching coach. You don't get a pitching coach after you walked everybody. You get a pitching coach to line you up, to get you ready. So why not get a tutor in advance? Or, always have that motivation to step forward and make sure you advance yourself in any part of life that you choose to do. You've always been a great guest, an honest guest, and I have yet still to pick your brain about the boxing because, like I said, we could talk about that all day long. That's going to be a different subject when I do have you back on again, and I know because of your schedule. But you know what, Shane? We worked it out. We made it happen, and we definitely got to have some fun. I got to send you some things in advance on some of the fights that we could talk about, some of the historical fights. But I'll leave you with this question here. What's your go-to fight that, you sit down, have your soda, your chips, and you could just watch this fight a million times? So what's your fight that you just have to watch over and over again?
Mayweather Corrales.
Diego Corrales?
I watch it. Yeah, Mayweather Diego Corrales. I watch that fight probably every single time I fight. I watch it most times. It was just a beautiful performance from a very, very great fighter, very talented, and he had to show his ability to change. He had to break this guy down. He had to knock him down 7 times in order to even finish him, and he still wanted to fight. You know what I mean? Like the guy was, unwavered by anything that Floyd was doing, and he still, just kept on changing, kept on being consistent, that's like a man on the mission. And, he just showed a lot of great things. Another one that I watch a lot is my father, Shane Mosley, against Antonio Margarito. I just think it was a beautiful performance. One of my dad's best his last best performance, I should say.
I knew that was going to happen. That was a bad matchup for Marguerite. That was all bad for him. All bad for him.
Yeah,
Because Margarita was supposed to be the next outing, be the next name, be the next. And when they matched up against Shane after he won, that was all bad. Bad matchup. And Shane took him to school.
well, I think that they thought that they were going to capitalize on my dad's name
Absolutely,
at the
they did.
time, because they felt like he was at his end,
Yep.
you know, and he didn't, because he fought right before that, he fought Mayorga,
Yeah.
Ricardo Mayorga, and he didn't look very good against Ricardo Mayorga. He knocked Ricardo Mayorga out, but it still wasn't, you know, like a great performance, right? It was just like kind of sloppy, and you know, he knocked him out in the last second of the fight, which is a great achievement. I don't know too many fighters that have done that, right? Knocked out a guy with 1 second left in the fight. It's pretty unheard of. But outside of that, the fight itself was not very clean. He looked kind of, you know, older, and you know, just set up a nice shot at the end. So it felt like, you know, he could capitalize on this name, be able to have a you know, big household name, especially in California, and do it on a big stage like the Staples Center. It's still like the biggest gate in history right now, like to this day. So like, you know, they set the stage for it to be, you know, a great performance for him. But you know, I just knew that style wasn't going to beat him, even if he did have the plaster in his hands.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't beating my dad that day. Like,
No.
he could have had that. I tell people all the time, like, that dude could have had a bat or a gun or whatever, a knife. He was losing that night. He could have whatever he wanted. He was going to lose that night. He was not going to win that fight. I don't care what he had. And you know, like, even my dad says, like, he's like, he could have kept it if he wanted to. Like, obviously, like, the commission wasn't gonna let him, but if he wanted to keep it, like, he was losing that night. I don't care what he had. And you know, I mean, that was just like his confidence, right? And I got to see that. You know, what I mean,
Yeah.
I got to see, like, I don't care what he had. You know what I mean? And even like, I remember even talking to Roy Jones, and Roy Jones said, man, if back in the day, if a dude said he was better than me, I don't care if he was taking steroids. He could have the needle stuck in his ass, and I would still fight him.
Yeah.
Like, I would still fight him because he's not better than me, right? That's the type of people that I was around, you know, like, growing up and stuff like that. Like, they had this ridiculous belief in themselves, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, to some, like, it could be like, what? Like, what do you mean? But like, obviously they made their legends, and they made something of themselves because of that belief in themselves. So they have to be able to do that. We, you know, da, 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 is it the music coming on?
Yeah.
All right, for sure. But
No, we
anyways,
good.
yeah,
We
that
good,
was
bro.
those are my two. Those are my two my two favorite
Well,
fights
I'm
that
going to
I
pick your brain
watched
just a little bit on the
consistently.
first fight that you said, Diego Corrales and Floyd Mayweather. Do you remember the comment Larry Merchant made about Floyd Mayweather because he had the WBC patch on his leg?
No, I don't remember. Maybe refresh my
Yeah, he
memory.
says something to the effect like, "Oh, you know, that's ridiculous having that patch on your leg. Like you already won the fight. Like you're already with the WBC. Like you're already going to win the belt." And I remember that because it always stuck out in my head. It was the little things that stuck out in my head. And you know, Larry Merchant's one of the greats, you know, ever. But I remember him making that comment, you know, and it stuck in my head. And Floyd Mayweather, he was only like, I think that was maybe his 12th fight. I can't recall exactly, but that was a Picasso. He painted that thing. It was a picture perfect outing. Stepped up to the plate, overcame, made a great fighter look novice, and as they say, the rest is history.
I believe his 12th fight was Chicanito Hernandez.
Okay, there you go. I just remember
But
he was pretty green when he got that as far as his record, that title opportunity and made good of it.
so if I'm not mistaken, that was when they're fighting for a HBO contract. And so the winner would essentially get like a $10 million contract over like 2 years or something like that. So they were fighting for that. Whoever won, like won that contract. Obviously, that was Floyd. But like that, I believe that was like he had like 20 some fights because like he had won at because that was at 35, I believe.
Yeah, that was
And so
at
he had
35.
already a
Yes, it was
belt.
at, or might
He
have been
already had
even
a belt.
30. Maybe 30 or 35.
What
Because
was his first
Corrales
belt?
already
What
had
was it?
that reputation of being a badass.
Yeah. Nah, because his first belt he won, he beat Gennaro Hernandez. I know for a fact he did, and that was at 130.
Yeah.
And then he moved up, so it must have been at 135 that he had won that belt. But anyways, as far as the Larry Merchant thing goes, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times, you know, these comments are not for the fighter. You know what I mean? Who cares, right? Like obviously he didn't let that bother him, and any good fighter that's out there is not going to let something like that bother him. If they do, there's something that there's an area in which that is not firing, right? Because in order to be able to reach stuff that you're not supposed to have, you got to have this unwavering belief in yourself. So obviously he can wear whatever he wants. If you feel disrespected by it, well, look at my results.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And obviously, what can you say now, right? And obviously, that same thing could have gone south for him, right?
Yeah.
But you have to take that chance. If you don't take that chance, you're not going to be able to live within that greatness, right? We all take chances in being great, whether that be in anything, right? So you're not going to get anything if you don't put some skin in the game and go after it. And he did, and you know what I mean, he claimed it before it happened. And the truth is he was a WBC champion at 130, so he had the right to be able to say that I could wear this patch. I'm a former champion at a lower weight class. I have the right to do that. But again, during the fight, we're not having that conversation. Like now, like if I'm an outsider, like we can have that conversation. But like during the fight, like whatever, bro. I don't care. Like you do whatever you say, whatever you say. Like I'm about to dust this dude. Watch.
When Shane Mosley Jr. leaves, I'll be talking.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, we ain't got time to be talking right now. I'm gonna show you with my actions. And that's another thing, man. Like again, show with your actions, right? Like it's all like men are defined by their actions, by the character that they have, by the values that they hold, right? This is like what being a man is. And as a fighter, is an expression of who you are as a man. You take everything that you are as a man, as a human being, and you let that out as a fighter, right? So you have to strengthen. And that's why I said when you asked before, like what are some things that you want to do, stuff like that. Is that something that, like, yeah, I'm cultivating all these things, right? I'm cultivating skills, talking to you, having conversations, teaching. Of course, I'm going to strengthen myself as a man because it's only going to make me more confident as a man, and I take that into the ring to become champion. Right? Because the more bulletproof I become, the more stronger I believe in myself. All of these things, I'm going to give that to that guy on the other side of the ring.
You know, you got a lot to offer both inside and outside of the ring. And, I think you do have a future as being a motivator, a spokesman. So that's kind of what I'm feeling right now because, you display that character and you display that talent and that passion. I'm not steering you away from what your goals are, but your future definitely has, I can see you, a motivational speaker. So, and that's who you are. Those are your steps.
Yeah. It was so funny because I was actually having this conversation with a friend of mine. She's a boxer. She's one of my students. And, obviously I can't train her as much because I'm being on my goals, and I'm trying to get to my dream, right? And she understands that. So we were talking, and she was looking for another coach, and I said, well, I think you need to find somebody that is in the right place to train you, right? And right now, I'm in the right place to be a motivational speaker because I believe, right? And I'm giving this out, right? So I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a motivational speaker. I'm just motivated. I'm driven. I have a goal, right? So that comes off as a motivational speaker. But I'm just primed for this right now because I believe it truly within myself, right? So I'm in the right space to do that, and you feel that. But let's say later on, I may not want that. I mean, like who knows? I'm not saying anything against it, but I think I'm in the right place to be giving you this knowledge, right? That's why Muhammad Ali was telling people that he's the greatest of all time. He probably would have been the best motivational speaker of all time
I agree.
because he was telling people he's the greatest of all time, right? But he never that never came about. You know, I mean, maybe health reasons, whatever the case is, but you know, it never materialized. But you know, he was prime in that moment to be that. And I think at the time, motivational speakers probably didn't even exist as far as, you know, there wasn't like social media or things
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
So, but you know, it just never thing. But he was prime for that moment. But yeah, man.
Yeah, well, I
That's where I'm
believe
at.
you're primed for your moment. You're primed for a big 2024. Shane, I'm looking
Oh
forward
yeah.
to it. I'm looking forward to your career grow. I'm following you. Any news you want to drop, you get a hold of me. We'll drop it here on the Fighter's Voice, or you know, I want to attend one of your fights. So one of your next fights, man, I'm gonna put in for a credential, and I'm gonna go cover your fight, man. I don't want to be a guy that just says that and doesn't show up. I made it a point and made all the effort possible to cover some of these guys that I've had on the show.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that'd be great. You know, do you do like in person like stuff like where
Yeah,
you
well,
like
we have
interview
a media outlet,
and
and what we do is we put it on a YouTube channel. We go interview some of the fighters, get content, and
Mhm.
when the credentials given to us, we don't just sit there on the laptop like a lot of other people do. I never see any content. I never see anything loaded up, nothing on their channel. I go out there and get all the content I can. You know, going to the weigh-ins, going to the media days, going to the open workouts, and you know, you got to build your channel. You got to build, you know, the fighter's voice. Like you, we're simply knocking out the competition. The fighter's voice, the only
That's
voice
right.
that matters.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, it's always a pleasure having you on the show, and I look forward to having you back again, especially when you're going to drop that news. I have a feeling I'm hearing Golden Boy may come to Fresno. That would just be outstanding if you were on that card.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously, I think they want to do a homecoming for I can't
Ramirez, yeah,
Ramirez. So yeah, so you know that would be prime. He sells that place out, I'm sure, and so yeah, I think it'd be a prime place for him to fight again. I feel like if he fights Ryan, it won't be there. Like, you know, I mean, I'm just
yeah.
being
No, I
honest.
hear
Like,
you.
it'd probably be, you know, and
Vegas.
out here in Las Vegas. But you know, I it's still, you know, a big fight if Ramirez fights out in Fresno. So I would love to fight in Fresno. I've never fought there before, but I'd be up for it. But truthfully, I've been wanting to fight in Vegas for the longest time. I've been wanting to actually fight and headline my own fight. I think that I am capable of, you know, doing that. I feel like enough people will be able to show up, but I'm not sure if Golden Boy is as confident in it, as that as I am. So, you know, I mean, I would love for them to give me an opportunity, but you know, I'm not gonna hold my breath.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I know you're going to be ready for that opportunity and give everybody, your fans, your followers, and supporters a great outing. The
Yeah.
platform is yours, man. How do we stay in contact with you? How do we follow you on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook? What's your handle?
So X, I got at one Shane Mosley Jr. On Instagram, Shane Mosley Jr. TikTok, I think it's like Shane underscore Mosley Jr. or something like that. What else? Facebook, Shane Mosley. I like to keep it very simple. Shane Mosley Jr.
And you're active on all your outlets, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the
I
most
mean, you
part.
answer all the
I mean,
messages I send you, so I appreciate that.
yeah, I'm the most active on Instagram probably. But yeah, I'm definitely active on all of them.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our guest today, Shane Mosley Jr., the 160-pound top contender in the middleweight division, knocking on that title opportunity. He'll be sharing big news with us soon. Golden Boy, I'm sure, has a bright future for him. And in 2024, we'll finally get that title opportunity. We're going to be rooting for him and supporting him. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Richard Ortiz of The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. And like our guest, Shane Mosley Jr., we're simply knocking out the competition. As always, it's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Hey, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week.
Remember,
It's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, the special guests, and all the crew, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.